The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
She's from Australia too.
Is this microphone on? And now the Temple City Moose Club is proud to present our own Temple City Kazoo Orchestra.
Robert Klein with Oldies, and before that, the Temple City Kazoo Orchestra and Whole Lot of Love. Hi, and welcome to the 35th podcast of the St. Louis Brain Sandwich Show. Mike Madonna here. We're going to move along with the movie reviews that we've been doing. Now, the difference is we're only doing 2 this time, and that's because I didn't really have enough to do 3 per show. So I stuck these particular 2 together because they actually go together. The first one is called Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. And then it's followed up by Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland, starring Pamela Springsteen, the younger sister of Bruce Springsteen. And also in the Unhappy Campers review, they're going to be joined by Valerie Hartman, who was one of the stars of Unhappy Campers. And she tells some stories about the making of the movie, and it's also interesting to note that she has the most disgusting death in the film. It is out there on DVD. I've seen it. I've seen the set out there, and then there's a new Sleepaway Camp film. I don't know what it's called. I saw it out there somewhere, just before Christmas of last year. So it might still be available out there, but I can't vouch for how good it is. And I know that Pamela Springsteen is not in it. As a matter of fact, I visited Pamela Springsteen's website and left messages there for her about it, and they never replied, so I'm gathering she's not real interested in talking about her experiences in making these films, but that's okay. I did talk to Valerie Hartman on the phone one time. I was actually calling for her mother, Ann Hartman, to let her know that we had these things on CD now and that I'd be glad to send her one. But as it turns out, Ann was not at that address anymore. Valerie and her husband lived there. And so we talked about that for a little while, and what a nice lady she was. I never got to meet her in person, but anyhow, she's in this movie review, and for Teenage Wasteland, I'm not sure if they do it with someone or not. Some of the ones that will be coming up in future podcasts do have guest reviewers, and I'll mention those when we get to them. But anyway, here is Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, followed by Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. Talk to you later.
I'd like to do an oldie, a cappella. I hope you don't mind. Listen, if you know it, come right in. I'm a little old-fashioned. I like the old ones, all right? It's a real old one, if you know this one. Remember that one from 1311? It was number one with an arrow. They didn't have bullets then for a long time. Yes, very good. You ever see the video of that? Gorgeous. Oh, I love that kind of stuff. I love ancient music. Here's one they used to use to call the friars to the evening meal. It's a French monastery, even older. Supper! Tuna salad and tomato. Waldorf salad and salmon croquettes. Spaghetti and cream spinachy. Brother Dominic's birthday cake, one slice to a monk, please. Angelo, there's always room for you. They don't write them like that. They do it.
Are you guys watching those god-awful... Oh, Anne! Valerie! Great to see you. Valerie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Hollywood making a movie.
Oh, Valerie, can you come here a minute?
Valerie,
We want to
come here
ask you
quick.
something. Sorry, Jane, we didn't mean to interrupt.
What?
Valerie,
Hey,
you gotta
we're in
get us
trouble
off the
here.
hook.
Oh,
Listen,
yeah,
if she finds out we're gonna watch this movie, she's gonna kill us. She thinks we watch It's a Wonderful Life. Tell her that you went to Hollywood and made a remake of the
Remake,
old,
yeah, like
you know,
1988 or something.
1988 version of it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Oh, Gene,
Okay,
yeah.
come
sorry,
on,
we didn't mean to
guys.
interrupt you,
What-
Jane.
What movie are you making out there, Valerie?
Well, I'm making a remake of It's a Wonderful Life. You know, the original one with Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed.
It's our favorite.
That is a great movie. I love that classic. I could watch that movie and remakes of it over and over again. I wish I could stay up and watch it with you guys, but I'm really beat. I wish I could talk to you, Anne and Valerie, but I've got a long day tomorrow. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay,
Good night.
Good night.
Boy, that's great.
Oh,
Thanks. You
thanks.
really got us off the hook. We thought we were dead.
Listen, what are we really watching? Didn't you really make a movie
I
and
really
you brought
did.
it with you tonight? What is it?
It's Sleepaway Camp 2, The Unhappy Campers.
Oh my gosh, what's it about?
Well, it's about Pamela Springsteen, Bruce Springsteen's sister. It really is her sister.
neat.
She plays this maniac, and in the first one, she's a boy, and in the second one, she's totally crazy. She gets a sex change operation, and she goes to be a counselor, but instead of being a counselor, she runs around and
She kills everybody! Oh, great. Put it in. This is wonderful.
They found him naked on the beach, holding the chopped-off head of another camper.
Jesus.
About 30 people were killed, and the camp had to be closed down. The end. Ready?
Wait, what happened to the killer?
I heard two stories. One, that he's dead, and two, that he's in Hollywood playing the dark-haired girl on The Facts of Life.
She's alive.
It's a guy.
Not anymore. He went into a psycho ward a couple years ago. And while he was there, the doctors gave him a sex change, and our parents' taxes paid for it. Well, he, or she, or whatever got out a couple years ago.
Well, today's review on the St. Louis Brain Sandwich Movie Review is Sleepaway Camp Part 2, The Unhappy Campers. And Jim, that part we just heard in which they explained about the guy getting the sex change and all the rest of the stuff that went on.
The one we play every week.
Yeah,
like
you know how we play every week at the beginning of the review? That's called the expository part of the review. Do you know that?
No, how do we know that?
Well, Valerie told me. You know, we have
Oh, we
Valerie
have-
Hartman here,
yes,
a
we
star
do.
of this movie, and she told us about how these movies are really made. And I think it's wonderful that she's here to actually sit in on this review with us tonight, Jim.
That's right. This is great. This is a real treat for me. So, Valerie, tell us a little bit about the movie. Where was it filmed? When was it made? Who's in it?
Well, it was in 1987. It was in this tiny little town called Bremen, Georgia. And it has Pamela Springsteen in it, Bruce Springsteen's sister, and Renee Estevez, Martin Sheen's daughter, and Charlie Sheen's sister, and me.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's all these daughters and things. Just
Were any other famous people in
yeah.
this?
Oh, there was a guy. Well, who's the guy that was in it that you told us about?
Walter Gotell.
And what was he in before?
He's been in a lot of the James Bond movies. He plays a villain.
It sounds like this had a lot of backing. This was a pretty major production.
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Well, you said you got to stay in the Holiday Inn. I mean, at least they had enough money to put you up right.
That's right. We got wonderful little rooms at the Holiday Inn. Took us maybe 20 minutes to get from one place to the other. This little ramshackle camp that we filmed the movie in.
Well, was this an operating camp or what?
No, not at all. It was really run down. I think it hasn't been used in years.
In fact, there's a pool scene here. I see you out sitting at poolside here. It looks like you're having a good time.
That's a funny story. The swimming pool was so covered with algae and bugs and leaves. It was brown. It was completely brown. They had the labor department out there. They were trying to stop the actors from going in the swimming pool. And finally, they just pushed it all out of the way, outside of the shot of the camera, and we did the scenes in the algae swimming pool.
So this is like the magic of Hollywood, because looking at the scene here, it looks fine. It looks like, they use it every day. It's chlorinated and everything. It looks fine, doesn't it, Jay? They
Sure
put
does,
makeup
sure.
on the pool, right?
That's right. It looks just about perfect there.
Well, here's an interesting scene, too, Valerie. I don't know. Well, it looks like you're kind of wet in that T-shirt.
Well, maybe it does look a little wet. Yeah, I suppose it hasn't got a lot of sun drying there.
So what? You mentioned something about there were a lot of actors and actresses in this that were under 17. Now what? There was a problem with the censors, or not the censors, but what was the problem with it?
It was the labor department once again. They followed us around. They had 5 or 6 people there, and anytime any girl was showing any skin, they moved everybody out that was 17 or younger, including the other lead actors that were younger than 18 or 17. They moved them out. They supervised them into a totally different room. We played the scene with doubles that were older than 17, and then they brought the younger 17-year-old players back in.
I see. So in other words, it's okay to show these kids that are under 17 decapitations and arms being and people getting stabbed and everything, but they can't see any prurient flesh.
Right, and that's right. And they also can't hear any bad words.
Well, I'll bet that accounts for this rather odd thing that's coming up here in a minute that this kid says when you crawl out of the pool in
That's
that
right.
fairly
We
wet
had-
T-shirt. Here,
Let's
here's
listen to
coming
this.
up.
Hey, Emilio, party hat's at 2 o'clock.
All right.
What does that mean?
Party hats?
Well, I tell you, it took all day long fighting with the labor people before they would let us say that. They tried all other different sorts of words, and finally they decided that party hats was an okay word for a youngster to say.
Actually, so remember, Jim, the people that are hearing this can't see the video.
Well, of course.
Hopefully they might rent it and watch it. But what's happening here is that line is uttered by what looks like a 13-year-old kid floating in the pool.
Yeah, a floating dinosaur.
So this really was a 13-year-old kid that was saying this.
Yes, it was.
So what words were rejected by him, Valerie?
Well, words I can't say, but you know the words.
Oh, you mean we'd get in trouble too if you said the words? Oh, I see. Okay.
Were there any other euphemisms that were rejected that the youth thought particularly funny?
Well, let's see. They wouldn't accept any kind of melon, cantaloupe, watermelon, any fruit at all. They didn't accept pasties. That's about it.
Well, that's a good list. I mean,
You said there
I
was a
don't
big
blame him.
argument, though, right? Yeah, a big fight.
That's
Seems
funny.
interesting. That's an interesting concept, Jim. The very first Secretary of the Treasury, then, Andrew Party Hat.
That's. But Jay, we haven't said anything about the movie yet. I mean, this was a great movie. I don't know if you liked it or not. We haven't really talked about it, but this is a great movie. I mean, I really like this movie. And Bella, you were so lucky to be in this. Pamela Springsteen was so great. She brought this moral tone to this movie, I think, that really carried the whole thing through, Jay. I mean, the moral tone, in fact, there's a scene coming up right here where she sets the moral tone. She takes the lead that Mrs. Reagan has given to the whole country as far as this drug thing, and she carries it through in this movie, and bringing it home to everyone that it's a message that we all should listen to, and it's coming up right here. I think you should listen to this.
You know, it's one thing to screw up your own life, but you also screwed up your sister's. Let this be a lesson to you. Say no to drugs.
That's right, Jay. You heard it. Just say no to drugs. I mean, all through the movie she does this. She has this moral tone, and I think it's good. I think the kids of today are just losing all their moral sense. You know, and they need to be taught lessons, you know, and not to use drugs and things like that.
Hold on. Wait. What's this moral sense stuff? She
Yeah,
said
yeah.
just say no to drugs. I
Right,
heard
right,
that.
yeah.
But you didn't see what happened right before that, Jim. She just barbecued somebody. She tied somebody to a barbecue pit, poured a bunch of Coleman fluid on top of her, and ignited her. She looked like a charcoal briquette.
Well, it was
and
her
then
sister,
she said, she threw a couple of joints. There were a couple of joints scattered around on the ground there. She thought this poor girl was using drugs.
Well,
and
they
she
had been.
burned
They
her
were
up.
smoking.
She barbecued her, and then you're saying this is moral? This is moral tone?
They were smoking, Jay. They were smoking and having illicit sex there in the woods.
So they barbecued her.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to
Yeah,
teach
this is
these
high
kids.
moral-
You
okay.
got to take these kids and teach them young.
Jim, maybe this kind of thinking explains why you, with a degree in elementary education, have never worked a day as a teacher in your life. I mean,
That
God,
doesn't have anything to do with it. It doesn't have anything to do with it. I did it because I fell in love with music in the middle of education, and that's why I didn't have time.
you sound like the Inquisition's answer to tough love. This is ridiculous.
Come on. All right, look. Let's get back to Valerie. She's the reason we're doing this, and we need to talk to her some more, okay? Because I don't want to. I talk to you every week, and now I got a chance to talk to someone that's beautiful and it doesn't yell at me. Valerie, there must be some really neat kind of inside things that you can tell us about the movie that happened that, you know, just watching it you would never know.
Well, actually, there are a lot of stories. And as a matter of fact, one of them's coming up right here. Pay attention to the names that they call each other.
Okay.
They should be sent home.
Oh, there's no way. Uncle John would never go for that. Charlie and Emilio have been coming here for years. Don't worry.
What's so strange about Charlie and Amelia?
Well, if you notice, Charlie and Emilio and a lot of the other characters' names, in fact, all of the other characters' names are names of the Brat Pack.
Which are what?
Well, that's that group of young actors that's out there in Hollywood doing all these movies like The Breakfast Club that everyone calls The Little Chill.
Oh, and you were Allie. That's Allie Sheedy, right?
That's
right.
exactly
That's Judd
right.
Nelson and Andrew
That's
McCarthy.
exactly
And
right.
who else is in that?
Well, there's somebody, Molly from Molly Ringwald. There's,
Well, it doesn't matter. There's a bunch of them. I know that.
Yeah, I remember hearing somebody called Molly. Yeah, you're right.
Well, that's pretty funny, except that I noticed toward the end of this movie, they didn't call them that anymore. What happened? They changed their name.
It's a really funny story. Molly, the girl that plays Molly, as I said before, is Renee Estevez. And apparently when she figured out what was going on, and this is a rumor, but when she figured out what was going on, she understood that there was a Molly and a Demi, and especially a Charlie and an Emilio. She apparently made a phone call, and Martin Sheen, her father, was upset. And if you'll notice, in the middle of the movie, everybody's name changes. At least the names of the minor characters all change.
That's incredible.
It is
What
wonderful.
power? What power they have here? Just, you know, and for what reason? I mean, I don't understand. Did she have that much power on the set, or was it just because her dad's a big wheel?
It's hard to say. I think that there were a lot of funny changes that went on that were sort of affecting some of the lead people who had powerful relatives. So, I know now that this little movie company is doing some other things with some other Estevezes. So I'm assuming that it probably wasn't hurting them too much to go along with what they wanted.
But you had no power to change the fact that they stuffed you down in an outhouse.
Nope. No matter how many phone calls I made, that was not gonna change.
And I
Too
realized,
bad.
Actually, Estevez's daughter there she didn't actually get killed on screen. I mean, we assumed she got killed at the end, but we didn't really even see it.
That's
She
right.
didn't have to take off her shirt. She didn't have to do anything. She had it easy in this movie.
That's right. You just sort of assume that she's going to get killed, and again, it goes along with the whole theme of morality and ethics and things, that everyone eventually gets killed.
Gee, just like real life, huh, Jay?
It's a fascinating
Yeah,
storyline.
it certainly is. It certainly is. Another neat thing I noticed was that they brought in characters from just about every horror movie that's ever been made. Now they had They had Freddy from the Freddy Krueger movies.
And Jason.
And Jason from
Michael
what?
Myers.
Is that Halloween?
No, Jason's the
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and Michael Myers, the guy with the hockey mask.
Right, and then the
Or not
Texas
hockey mask,
Chainsaw.
that white
That's
mask.
a hockey mask.
Well, is it?
Isn't
So
it?
does Jason has a hockey mask.
Yeah, it's a
too.
hockey mask. I think.
So does Greg Millen. He had 5 shutouts.
That's
so
true,
far
but he
this year.
doesn't have a chainsaw, and they had the Chainsaw Massacre in this one, and that's who the lead character ends up playing and cuts everybody up with his chainsaw, and it's all because they're immoral, Jay, and it gets back to this morality. It's basically a morality play. It's just done like in a modern scene, at a camp with young people, and but morality still has a place in society, and I think we're just all losing it. Everybody's losing their morals, and the country's going to fall because of that. And I think this movie's going to help eliminate all these problems.
Jim, I think you really hit on something here. This is another case, just like real life, when morality is cloaked in a lot of insipid dialogue and a lot of absurd acting. I think you really hit on something this time, Jim. Maybe this is a lot better movie than I originally thought it was going to be.
Well, I knew you'd agree with me eventually, Jay. It's just a matter of time. I have a little more insight than you give me credit for. And sometimes it just takes a while to bring it out of me. And it's a movie like this that can really do it. And Jay, I really did like the score in this movie. I mean, it was sort of an innocent thing. I mean, that's what I liked about it, really. But one of my favorite songs here was by the Dead Milkman. I kind of like.
Oh, come on, Jim, we're going to start arguing again now. The Dead Milkman, that was a stupid song. There wasn't one reasonable song in the whole soundtrack.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't remember the name of the song, but it definitely wasn't, I don't know, Come to Me, My Melancholy Baby or something like that.
Wait a minute, hold on. We can't say that.
What?
Valerie, what would we have to say?
That's right. We'd have to say, "Come to me, my party hat, collie baby."
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry.
We wouldn't want to get in trouble with the Department of Labor. That's the last thing we need.
But Jay, the Happy Camper song, my favorite, is coming up right now. You got to listen to it. And Valerie, sing along, please.
Forget the hand movements. Be glad to.
Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the summer sun. I love the trees and forests. I'm always having fun. Oh, I'm a happy camper. I love the clear blue sky. And with the grace of God, I'll camp until I die.
I love it. You've had voice lessons, haven't you, Valerie?
Yes, I have actually. Thank you.
I can tell.
It's a very prophetic song, too, because I don't think you do actually camp till you die. Nobody actually lives through this movie. In fact, I think you're killed at the end, not actually at the end, about 3/4 of the way through, by being shoved into a portable outhouse and drowned.
I told you.
Well, somehow she comes up covered with leeches and things, too.
One
Jim.
of my favorite
love
animals.
that part, too.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And, Jim, we've neglected so far to bring in our other guests here. We have Ann Hartman, Valerie's mother, and Ann's been behind Valerie in her career ever since she's been, a young child. And I mean, Ann, what do you think about this movie?
Well, I'm very glad that she got the opportunity to star in a movie, and going along with the issue of morality that you were discussing before, as she has assured me, I'm very happy that they provided her with a double for the nude scenes that are shown in the movie. So that was very reassuring for a mother, really.
CJ, it's the whole moral issue again. I mean, they provided this for her, and so that her mother wouldn't be embarrassed when she had to watch the movie with us here. It just goes along with everything else that I've been saying about this movie. It's a great movie. It's a great
Jim,
movie.
I noticed a number of Valerie's nude scenes, and normally when they use a body double, they don't show the face. But there were plenty of scenes when Valerie's face and body were shown at the same time, and there was clearly.
Now, as I told my mother, they have a really new technique now where they can superimpose my face onto the double's body and then airbrush out the lines.
But Valerie, I know a lot
said.
about these things. I mean, I have friends in the business too, and I've never heard of any kind of technique like that. Usually, they tell me when somebody shows with the face and
I'll tell
body
you,
that they're really using.
Jay, do you want me to wake up your wife and tell her what
really
movie
think
you
that
are
the
really
moral issue
watching?
here-
Now, come on, you owe me
and
one
I
here.
know you agree with me because the
I'm
whole
sorry.
thing, and you probably,
Ann,
I don't know if you were there while they
Ann,
were filming. But.
I just thought of something. They do have a new technique, and when they,
yes, I know that.
they're using probably some actress from some B-grade porn movie they
Yes.
bring in there, just somebody with just a good body, and
Yes.
they superimpose Valerie's face. It's really an amazing process.
It truly is. It truly is.
Well, you had nothing to worry about.
No.
Oh, okay, it was really a fine movie too. We really liked it a lot.
Oh, well, good.
You
I'm
should be
glad
proud.
that you did. I am.
I think it's time for us to go, Mom. How about you? Let's take off.
Listen, we want to thank you both for being
Yeah,
here. It was
this is
really enlightening. It was
wonderful.
the
This
first
is
time we
great.
really had an actress, a real honest-to-goodness actress
Yeah,
here.
this sort of legitimizes us now, doesn't
Certainly
it, Jay?
does, Jim.
Now we can have all the big actors and actresses come in and be interviewed on the show.
This is great.
This is going to be
a turning
wonderful.
point in our career.
Maybe we can have one of our favorites from the Blood Farmers come in.
Warren D. Oily
Warren
Ryan.
the Oily Ryan. Yeah, maybe we
just
can get him in here.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy, will we
that'd
ever
be
have fun.
wonderful.
Well, thanks a lot again for coming, guys. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Are they gone?
I don't know. Are they gone? Yeah, they are gone.
I think they are gone.
Did
Wow,
you
you believe
buy
that crock?
Body double.
I hope she. Boy, I didn't think that Ann was that gullible, but
I did. Melons.
yeah. Anyway, Jay, really, there's a scene here. You wouldn't believe this. There's a scene coming up where she does one of these scenes, where she's topless.
Her daughter could sell jockstraps to the castrati if she'd make her believe that kind
Yeah,
of
I
line.
think you're right. Airbrush out the lines. I love it. I love it. But there is a
You must
scene.
airbrush your brain.
But there is
Body double. Body double. Hey, let's turn back to that scene again.
Really, it's great. This is
Let's run
wonderful.
it back. Hey, here's another one of Valerie's topless scenes coming up.
I wonder what she did.
Must have been pretty serious.
Maybe she got naked in front of the boys. Remember, ladies, nice girls don't have to show it off.
God, what's Angela's problem? I mean, who's gonna see me anyway?
Her mother! Body double!
Jay, I gotta give this one 4 lobotomies.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
with
this
you.
movie.
I hated this movie. 4 lobotomies. Just for that. And for nothing else, 4 lobotomies. This was wonderful. I'd watch
Airbrush
this again.
out the lines.
Let's play that back again.
All right.
Hey, what do you have this on for, Jim?
Well, we're gonna watch the movie so we can fool Jean like we always do.
Yeah, but you forget she's out of town, Jim. She's in
Oh,
California.
that's right. Darn,
She's
I
got
forgot all
the
about
baby.
it.
They're in a houseboat on Lake Shasta having a good time. We can kick back. We can watch all the movies that we went to, and we don't have to worry about her coming and yelling at us.
Oh,
It's great.
that's Jay. This is great. I'm gonna turn this off because if I have to watch this movie again, I'm gonna go absolutely nuts.
Jim, what are you talking about? We never watched the movie as it is. Who wants to watch Donna Reed and Jimmy Stewart and all those morons running around in there?
You're right. I agree.
Especially tonight.
But what do you got? What is it all about?
That's what I'm
is it?
saying. Tonight we got Sleepaway Camp.
Well, we watched Sleepaway Camp before,
Well,
Jay.
we watched
It was
part
one of
one.
our best reviews.
We watched part 1.
Right.
Well, we got another one now.
Part 2.
Yeah. No, we don't have part 2.
We don't?
No, we watched part 2 already.
We watched part 1 and 2?
Yes, we watched both of them. This is part 3.
Did we watch part 1 too?
Yes, we watched 1 and 2. Never mind.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. We got Sleepaway Camp part 3.
Oh, okay.
Teenage Wasteland.
Oh,
It's a
okay. What's
great
it all
one.
about?
Oh, Jim, it's kind of the same as 1 and 2.
Oh, well,
It's
that's
more like
stupid. Why
1
would
than
we
it is
watch
like,
it
well,
then?
it's more like 1 than like 2.
Oh.
But it's got to be better than those 2. Because
Well,
they were
let's hope
bad.
so. They were bad,
One
yeah.
of them was good.
Well, 1 was good.
It doesn't matter. Stop
Okay,
it.
okay,
Look,
okay.
what it's about, it's still got Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Oh, thank God.
And
Thank
she's a
God.
maniac.
I wouldn't watch it without
Well,
her.
she's out in the woods and she's a maniac.
Well,
like
we
she
know
was,
that,
Well,
yeah.
she was in 1 and 2 also. Anyway, I think it's really interesting that Springsteen's sister stars in this.
Yeah, I do too.
Because you can imagine, Bruce, he's on a stage someplace,
Yeah.
playing music, playing with his axe, And
Yeah.
his sister, she's in the movie, and she's got an axe too.
Yeah.
Except she's not really playing the axe.
Well, what does she do?
She just runs around and she kills everybody. Yes.
Oh, that's great. Oh, are you expecting someone?
No, it's the Sears at the door.
Let's see who it is. Hi, can we help you?
Temporary services.
There must be some
Temporary
mistake.
services.
Now, we didn't call for any temporary
Did you order
services.
anyone?
No, I didn't call. I think you got the wrong place. Sorry.
Someone named Jean hired me to take care of things while she's gone.
Oh, how sweet.
Isn't that nice? You have such a wonderful wife.
She is
Jake.
great. I bet she wants her temporary person to take care of the
Yeah,
lawn,
clean the house
clean
and
the
stuff
dog
and
stuff out of the backyard.
cook for you.
Yeah, cooking all that kind of stuff.
Laundry.
Look, this is wonderful. Listen,
It
we're
is.
gonna watch a movie down here, so you can start upstairs, and if you need anything, just call down. I'll let you know where the things are. There's
Right,
soap
you do
and all that
whatever
stuff
she
upstairs.
hired you to do, and we're gonna watch the movie.
A movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you don't have to dust around those movies. Don't worry. We'll just sit back here and watch one. You can start upstairs.
A movie.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp Part 3. Teenage Wasteland?
Uh-huh.
Are you guys watching those god-awful movies again?
Ironically, Camp New Horizons was formerly known as Camp Rolling Hills, where last year 19 people were brutally slain by alleged psychopath Angela Baker. Baker, also known as the Angel of Death, was allegedly responsible for another string of grisly murders 7 years ago at nearby Camp Arawak, which has since closed.
Things have changed here. We're now under new ownership,
Stop,
new
Jay,
management,
stop
new
here.
ownership.
Honey, what is the matter?
You told me you wouldn't say a word about the murders.
It's okay, dear. If violence sells, and you've got to give the people what they want. It's okay.
Come along, everyone. Come along. Let's go to the dining hall and experience some more sharing.
Well, I can share something with you, Jim. This series, Sleepaway Camp, is getting worse with each succeeding episode.
Now, you actually expected it to get better.
Well,
Give
they
me
think
a
Godfather
break.
3 might be better than 1 or 2, and Godfather 2 was better than 1. And what happened before, Jim? Besides, you got the movie.
I didn't either. You got the movie.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I did get the movie. This is Sleepaway Camp Part 3, Teenage Wasteland. And it's another double helix production. Jim, we've commented on this during Part 2. And
We're watching some woman die now because she snorted Drano that Angela, the Angel of Death, just gave her and thought it was another white substance.
well, you know, Jim, Angela particularly has it out for people who do drugs and who have illicit sex. And actually, people who have fun don't fare very well under Angela.
No, I think she's okay with good, clean fun. You know, like boating, swimming. No parlor games. But none of this. She actually is out of her time. She should have been back in the 40s and 50s. 50s, really, when it was everything was kind of prudy, and yeah, that would have been better for her.
Well, anyway, I guess actually you're right. Carrie Nation had an axe.
That's right.
Didn't give her mother 40 whacks. That was somebody else. But Angela actually doles out a lot more than 40 during the course of this movie. This is another bad one, Jim. And I wish, the only saving grace that we had in Part 2 was Valerie Hartman. I mean, if it hadn't been for Valerie, Part 2 would have been a complete loss.
Yeah,
and I understand from Valerie and her mother that Valerie didn't get in Part 3 because she rejected some producers' advances, and so of course they killed her off.
You mean they were going to give her money ahead of time?
Yeah, that's right, Jim.
Oh,
Give money
why
ahead
would
of
she
time.
refuse
Well,
that?
never
That
mind.
sounds stupid.
Never mind. It doesn't matter. Let's just go on. Let me just say that she's not in this movie, Jim, and but she is in it. Actually, she's given credit as a raccoon handler in this one.
Yeah, I couldn't understand. I mean, what did she do? Just go shoo shoo and shoot
There
the
was
raccoon
one
across?
scene where a raccoon walked out from the bushes, and that was it. It took about 3 seconds, and they had her in as raccoon handler. And I think that what must have happened is that they made this movie from outtakes of the last one, and that they really didn't even go back down to this camp. Remember, she told us on the show last year that they went to some camp in Bremen, Georgia.
Yeah, it's in the same place.
It's the same place.
Saw the pool and everything.
Yeah. I have a feeling what they did is just take a lot of old outtakes that they had from the first and second parts and just sort of threw them together with a few new actors. Maybe they went down and filmed and did some scenes in a sound studio, but for the most part, this is just thrown together, and it really looks like it. And
it does.
And Michael J. Pollard is in this one, and he's looking and sounding more and more like Buddy Hackett every time I see him.
He does, yeah, and thank God he got killed. Like he was like the second one to get killed because he was bad. I mean, it was really bad. But not to say that everything in it wasn't bad. I mean, Ms. Springsteen's career, if there's never a fourth mate, she has no more career in the movies. I mean, she's done.
But with a brother with that kind of money, with his money, he can afford to give her plastic surgery. She can make all of these that she wants and go out in the street afterwards and nobody'd ever recognize her. And she could put the entire thing behind her with just a little corrective surgery.
Maybe
Not
she's
that
wearing
she's unattractive, I don't mean that, but so people wouldn't recognize her and know that she had anything to do with this set of monstrous movies.
Maybe this isn't really what she looks like. Maybe she's wearing a mask now, and then when she takes it off, she's completely different, and so she doesn't have to worry anyway.
Maybe
that
when
would
she
be the
takes
way.
the mask off, it's really Bruce Springsteen. He's
Now
something he's
that's
always wanted to
interesting.
do. He's always wanted to get in the movies.
Yeah.
And here's his way to get into the movies with his money. Like I
I
said,
guess
he
so.
could get a replica mask.
Yeah, he
made
probably
up.
bought producer and director, you know. So.
Well, I guess it should be fairly obvious. I didn't find anything worthwhile about this movie. In fact, to me, it was an hour and a half wasted sitting here watching her run over people's heads with lawnmowers, and same thing she did in 2 and 1. Just the same
yeah, it was
thing.
just nothing new. No novel ways of killing people. Just normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill ways to kill people. I guess, at least as far as we're concerned, it is.
Really, Jim, I think they reached the bottom of the barrel when she shot somebody. I mean, of all the things they
how
could do,
ridiculous.
pull a gun out and shoot him.
Yeah,
I mean,
and a cop as well. I mean, come on.
Well, anyway, that's about the end of it.
The only saving grace, Jay, of all 3 of these movies, really, is that they were done in the outdoors. People are camping, and you're supposed to have a good time and become one with nature. And I really like that because I love to camp. I love to camp. We've gone camping many times.
Right,
we've had so much fun. And this is great. It's the only thing that's good about it. What?
I remember you camping. What do you mean? I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. What do you... Don't you think I remember camping with you?
Well, of course you do. It was great. We have lots of fun, don't we? We looked for rattlesnakes. We've told everybody about the rattlesnakes.
Yeah, and we found one. The one time we found one, you didn't talk to me for 3 weeks or something afterwards.
I'd almost forgotten about that.
You did not talk to me for days. It was
2 days.
2 days, 3 days, whatever it was. You wouldn't talk to me
Well,
at
actually,
all.
I didn't talk to you for 2 days when I lost my glasses, and then I didn't talk to you for 2 days after this. I know you're going to tell the story. Just tell the story.
Why didn't you talk to me after you lost your glasses? How was that my fault?
I don't remember,
It
but I
just
didn't
was.
talk to
It
you.
always is right.
It's always your fault.
It's always my fault. Okay. In this case, we were camping in the middle of the desert. It's down in Big Bend National Park. Remember that down on the
Sure, how could I
Texas-Mexico
forget?
border? And of course, you wanted to find a rattlesnake. I wasn't very interested in finding a rattlesnake.
You were after that.
Well, I was after that, but you really wanted to find a rattlesnake. So I thought, well, if you wanted a rattlesnake that much, Jim, I'd give you one. That's all. So we were out walking around the back and looking around for rattlesnakes, and then, of course, I left the tent open. And I did it purposely, Jim. Then when you got back...
Just to clarify things, we were looking for rattlesnakes in grass up to our knees. Remember, Jay, we were young. We were 17. We were young and stupid.
We're not young anymore.
That's true.
But anyway. But I mean, the reason I even brought this up, Jim, is because here you are talking about how much you like this movie because it has to do with camping. But, I mean, you were so scared. I mean, here we are just out in a campground, out in a national park, and you were so afraid that you ran out screaming into a bunch of Girl Scouts or whatever they were, Bluebirds, whatever they were, who were pitching their tents across the road, yelling because you were terrified. How can you say that you like camping?
Well, Jay, I thought that you guys were dead. I figured the rattlesnake had bitten you all, and that you were going to die, and that's the last I'd ever see of you.
There was no rattlesnake.
Well, I know that, Jay, but you're out shaking this thing of aspirin behind the tent. I mean, what am I supposed to think? I mean, I've never been out there before. I don't know what rattlesnakes really sound like. To me it sounded like a rattlesnake. You did a good job.
You know what was really good, though, is when I left that tent open and we got back in the tent, and I suggested that, maybe a snake might have crawled into one of our sleeping bags.
Yeah.
And I let you get to sleep. Maybe 2 or 3 minutes later, you were half dozing, and I started shaking that thing in the tent again, took my belt off, and threw it, and yelled, "Here's the snake," and threw it across the tent. And I think I couldn't see because it was pitch dark, but I believe you must have sat up in your sleeping bag with your arms straight out.
Well, I did. I sat up. It was hot, so we didn't have them, zipped all the way up. And I just bolted upright, and my arms were out, and this belt lands across my arm. I thought it was a snake. I swear to God, I threw it up in the air, screamed, and ripped my sleeping bag down the middle. Ripped the front of the tent off.
That part I know.
And then went out and skinned up my hands on the rocks that were out there, and then ran through the Girl Scout camp in my underwear. I was like
screaming, my friends
are dead. My friends are dead. Oh, Shover. No wonder I didn't talk to you for 2 days. You're lucky. I still talk to you now. You're lucky.
But it's another vivid memory, Jim.
But camping is sure fun, ain't it?
Yeah, it sure is a riot. We never did find the rattlesnake, but we did find a couple of really bad movies here, Jim. I'm going to give this one a 1 lobotomy. I don't think there's nothing that can save this.
Well, the only thing that saved it for me, Jay, was that finally, after 3 movies where she just hacks up everybody, slashes them, burns them up, drives tent stakes through their heads, she put a firecracker up this one guy's nose, Jay, and blew his head off. I mean, it was just, after all that, you finally get to feel some sympathy for her character, Jay.
That's because she twists her ankle, right?
She twists her ankle, Jay, and I thought at first it was fake, just some ploy for her to get, one of them alone so she could kill him. But no, she really did, Jay. She sprained her ankle, and really made you feel sorry for the girl.
Jim, somehow I just don't think I could get any real sympathy generated. There's a scene coming up. I know we don't have much to play from this, but I'll tell you what. Coming up is one of her final scenes in here, and I'd really like to see how you can watch this and then feel any sympathy for this woman at all.
Okay. Oh, gee, I think I know which scene you're talking about. It's great. In fact, I thought it reminded me really of one of my favorite game shows of all time on TV. That's by the way coming back this next season.
Oh, come on, Jim. Give me a break. Let's play the scene.
Okay.
Okay, time to play. The object of the game is to stay alive. The rules are simple. Marcia is in one of the 3 cabins behind you. Is she in cabin number 1, cabin number 2, or cabin number 3? You have exactly 2 minutes to find out. If you run away, I'll kill you. If you don't find her, I'll kill you. And if you hurt me in any way, I will kill you. Any questions? Good. On your mark, get
Jay, that's
set,
great. I mean, that's just like Let's Make a Deal. Yeah, it's
Jim.
great. It's just like Let's Make a Deal. And she does it real well. I think she could take over for Monty, actually, on the new show.
So this made you like it now?
But, well, the only thing that I didn't like is she should have said, and you have 2 minutes and 2 seconds to find her.
Well, she did say the 2 minutes.
Well, yeah,
It's
but
not
she
the
forgot
2
the 2 seconds.
I
Just,
know,
yeah.
I know.
All right, Jay. I'm going to give it 1 lobotomy, but, I kind of like it. I don't know. I think I would go get part 4 if it came out. I don't know. I kind of like it. It's
Wait a minute, because of the scene?
Yeah, because of the Let's Make a Deal scene.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll tell you what, Jim.
What?
You go out and get part 4 and make me sit through it, and I'll kill you. Yeah. Change your rating and give it any higher than a 1, and I'll kill you. For that matter, Jim, don't change your rating, and I'll kill you. Squeak those tennis shoes on the floor again like you've been doing. For weeks I've been listening to that squeak.
I can't help
every
it.
time you walk, and I'll kill you.
I
Stir
can't
my
help it.
Dr. Pepper with your finger again, and I'll kill you. Make fun of my handwriting again, and I'll kill you. Tell me the story about when you were in the Navy in Rhode Island and you had that girlfriend with all of her organs reversed, and I'll kill you. For that matter, tell me any more of your Antarctica stories or your service stories or any of that.